Welcome to the Gearwire.com Crosstalk podcast for Friday, September 29th. I'm your host, Mike Payne, and I'm joined by the beautiful Britton Weatherald.
Hello.
And the wonderful and amazing Dan Augusto.
I thought you said I was pretty.
Well,
so
you are
pretty.
pretty.
No, thanks.
I mean, look at him. No hat today. He's gorgeous. Can't contain myself. Unfortunately, Drew Cragg couldn't make it today. Got a call at the last minute, and he's not able to join us, which is unfortunate. We've got Ableton live, and we're going to take a look at that. It's version 6. We've got a public beta version. We're going to dig into that, and Drew was the Ableton expert, but we're going to do our best for the Gearwire audience.
Good luck, folks.
A few weeks ago, we reviewed the Krakli Cygnus software synthesizer, and we had some suggestions for the developer on air, and turns out that the developer, Ian Webster, has actually implemented some of those suggestions, and we've got a version of that where we're going to take a look at in a little bit. Also, earlier this week, we had Cakewalk's Tom Beyer in to give us a clinic on Cakewalk Sonar number 6, and he did that, and we've got some video at that, so we're going to shoot him out and his pretty little self. Everybody's pretty today, by the way. You know, it's just how it goes. It's a beautiful Friday.
Is it obvious that he didn't go out drinking too late last night?
For the first time in quite a long time. A few reminders before we get started. Reminder from last week, Gearwire now has a newsletter. If you want to join and stay tuned on big product releases, industry news, stuff like that, you can sign up in the upper right-hand corner of every page on Gearwire.com. Also, if you want to send us an email, hate mail, love mail, fan mail for Britton, you can send us an email at crosstalk@gearwire.com, and we will get back to you. We're very...
Have we gotten any mail? I mean,
absolutely.
We have gotten some
What's up?
and we've gotten back to all of it.
Why am I not, at all privy to this?
Well, I don't know, man. Probably because you're not around. You're only
That's
around for
probably
an hour and a half a week in here.
Also,
Maybe we should do something about that.
Yeah,
if you don't like email, you can also join us on the forums at forums.gearwire.com/crosstalk.
And there's an 800 number flashing at the screen right
They're
now.
not mutually exclusive, though. You can still like email and still be on the forums.
No,
though.
absolutely.
Just to clarify.
You can do both if you want, if you really want.
And if you act now, we'll give you a set of these fabulous knives.
One more thing on a personal note before we get started. I have a Digi002 at home, and I've had it for quite a while, and I wanted to give a shout-out to Digidesign really quick. About 3 months after I got my Digi002 years ago, the unit ended up breaking, and it wasn't communicating with Pro Tools. I was having a problem, couldn't run it. I had sessions coming up, and I was in big trouble. Called Digidesign. They sent out a new unit to me, came to me next day, and then I sent mine back, and I was taken care of. Instantly, all my sessions were fine. Well, recently, about 2 weeks ago, I had a problem. The same thing started happening again with my new Digi002, and I couldn't figure it out. Well, I ended up contacting Digidesign again. They sent out a part overnight, came to me, fixed it again. So I just wanted to give a shout out. If anybody is considering buying a Digi product versus something else, their service is great. I can attest to that.
And the next time it breaks, they'll do the same.
They better. I mean, I was out of warranty too, which is pretty cool.
They do have the, in my opinion, the best support.
Yeah.
Ever. Because I don't know, from where I used to, be a part of their little club of the 210 certified guys for operators and whatnot. And honestly,
so the hotkeys, but
not only the hotkeys, but everything about, you have to know everything about this system, you know what I mean? And they make you take a test. It's you only have 3 tries too. It's a really comprehensive test on everything about Pro Tools. You only get 3 tries at it.
Wow.
But
yeah.
One thing that I'd like to bring up with this is that I use Motu stuff in my studio and RME stuff at my studio. And I've had a few things happen to my Motus, like if some of the lights go out, but they still work.
Right.
So while Motu may not have as good service as Digidesign, I don't think we're not hearing about tons of people having to deal with that sort of thing. And when you buy a product, why would you want to even have to deal with service no matter how good it is?
Absolutely.
But the thing with you don't hear many Digidesign users do that.
I've heard just about every person I hear about who uses the 002 has this problem with the power supply.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
So it's a defective product basically, but they've done a good job at keeping people happy. But
I've never had a problem with my Ambox though. Which is their other LE product. They only got 2.
But it's got the problem with the Digi002 is a power harness issue.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Mbox doesn't use the same system.
And their TDM systems, I can attest to, are way more stable than anything Motu's ever made.
Well, I don't know.
I know
I
you're
think
angry.
Dan's got a
at
good
it.
point. Dan's got a good point about reliability. But I wanted to give a personal shout out to Digidesign for taking care of me, and wanted to extend that to the Gearwire audience because that is kind of a big deal. So, round one, fight. Okay.
I'm choosing Ryu. I call Ryu.
Okay.
He gets to be Guile. Sonic Boom. All right, anyway.
Just
moving on to the first topic this week. Some sad news that actually just came up about an hour or two ago. Capitol Records, the building in L.A., has been sold to a New York commercial property firm. Capitol Records is expected to stay in the building on a long-term lease, but the building also houses Capitol Records' famed recording studio with greats such as Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, the Beach Boys. Many others have recorded there since it was founded in 1956. So that's a big deal. The New York commercial property firm is expected to demolish the building and rebuild a giant statue of our Marshmallow Fairy Princess designed by Frank Gehry. Okay, they're not really going to demolish it, but still.
No, like this really makes me mad. I signed a petition. I lived in North Hollywood, of course, and that's like right around the corner. I worked for some competing studios, but the Capitol Records building is like this thing that is essentially a landmark. It's like on the same level of like going to the Bean, but better in Chicago.
The Bean.
You know, it's just this thing that symbolizes, like, for me, it symbolized like my hopes and dreams of moving to LA and like doing some record stuff and whatnot. And it was totally like this. It's this, you know, symbol of like you can do what you want to do out there and it's okay. And like, so when they threatened to tear it down and build condos, like that was the big thing. Like they threatened to tear it down and build condos. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but it was horrendous. I'm hurt.
Well, who knows? I didn't find any detail about what they're going to do. It could be as simple as, you know, just redesigning the interior and building offices within that. And it could be as extreme as knocking it down.
Is the studio going, or is it just...
All the detail that I had said that Capitol is staying put, but they're on a long-term lease. And that didn't say anything about their studio. It just talked about their Capitol as a whole. So I don't have much detail on that. And I'm going to keep my fingers crossed because that is kind of an end of an era. You know,
it's a very important building, man.
Sure.
Right.
You know,
right.
And they got great gear there. So if you got Catch and you want to support them, go record there.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's pretty sad, but we'll move on into some happier details in just a minute. As we mentioned, Ableton 6 public beta, we've got our hands on one of those, and we're going to take a look at that. And we've got our own Britton Weatherald who's going to man the station here, and we're going to take a listen. So let's check that out. Britton, what you got for us?
I got a series of drum loops that are probably and some really nice cheesy guitars.
Sweet.
And we're just gonna kind of go through and mess around with it. And
give me Iggy Pop meets Belle Biv DeVoe.
Are we set up for that?
We should always be set up for that.
I think that guitar needs some echo. I think it needs some echo.
Some echo? All right. Let me find it.
All right. So you're in the loop browser.
Yeah.
Nice.
Now, I'm not too familiar with previous versions of Ableton, but does it look much like this?
Yeah, it looks basically the same, you know. It's not much different than the other one. And it really operates on the same principles. I guess maybe they've gotten better with how they operate, like seamlessly, and the way everything's kind of moving around and whatnot.
Is there a track window as well, as opposed to
there is
a mix window?
There definitely is. You can,
gotcha.
You know. Okay.
So how would we bring? Do you know how we'd bring stuff into there?
Actually, if you wanted to, instead of just like operating off of loops, you just drop files.
Oh, I see.
You know. So like.
So this would be like the mode where you'd be in if you're actually building a sequence. The other one would be,
right.
Because I know they call it a live set, so this seems kind of like the live mode.
Yeah,
whereas the other one would be like the beat creation mode.
Yeah, well, kind of we'll mess around with that window for a second right now, since you kind of see this thing. We'll get back to this window in a second. We are going to the mix window now.
This is like the sequence window?
Yeah, it's kind of like the sequence window.
Okay.
Where you can just drag and drop these loops. And then you're supposed to be able to play them. And notice how that sometimes they know what's going on. And this is new jack swing.
It totally is.
And then you can drag some more stuff in it.
Oh, sweet.
Aisha.
So when I was playing with this, I was trying to figure out like how we could like skip measures, because when you're in the other window, it just loops.
It just plays it continually.
It just stupidly loops.
Yeah, I mean, so like.
So that sequence window is mandatory, I would say.
Yeah. The thing is that for some reason, track 1 right now is having some issues with playing as a sequence. So like if we were to move on to 2, just get rid of this stuff.
Where do we get this public beta?
Well, you can download it, but by the time this podcast gets out, it's going to be expired. They're not going to. It's not going to be available anymore.
Okay.
The 30th is the last day.
Gotcha.
So somehow you find a download on some BitTorrent of our podcast before it's released. Check it out. Yeah, so I heard that one of the new features is like the effects rack, where it's sort of we discussed it before, kind of like Core.
Right.
Where it contains a bunch of plugins in one, and it has a bunch of presets. So if we want to take a look at that,
we can.
Sure.
What kind of track do we have going?
I just put up a series of loops just to kind of, I know it'll be kind of repetitive, but just to kind of show what's going on.
That's sure. Their loops.
And there's these presets, like here's beat repeat, and we're gonna put chopping block right here. Why not? And we just drag it in. You can do this in real time.
Is this one of the rack things?
It is. This is kind of.
I see. It's a bunch of. So there's all the effects.
Yeah, and we're just gonna start with beat repeat. So it kind of gives like that.
Yeah.
Then you can
That's cool.
So hey, wow, cool, and then I really want an auto filter. That's what I want, And instead of doing beat repeat, I'm gonna go to my auto filter section, and I'm just gonna, hey, I don't want to deal with what I'm gonna do, so let's just do a notch step. Just drag it in, and then you can quantize it to a certain beat part, and then wow. And maybe I want a filter delay. Nah, we'll do a resonator. There's the Berlin resonator.
So you just drag it right into that effects rack.
Yeah, just drag it in. And let's say I'm like, oh man, I want more of like that, and I'm bored.
Right.
And let's do a redux for a second, I guess. And down 226, I guess. We'll put it right here, actually. And
here.
And we're gonna downsample it.
Did you check out the effects rack though? Scroll up over here.
This is the audio effects rack.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Well, this is the actual rack right here, because look, it'll scroll through.
Yeah, that's the rack, but it actually has like
different.
If you take the audio effects rack and put in there, it'll put in an empty rack.
Yeah, so like we could just.
So now you can just drag more
effects there
into there,
which is even cooler.
And then you could save it as a preset. Under your audio effects rack. So you threw an auto filter in there. Let's throw an eruption in there.
All right, cool. And then so we did that auto filter, and I want it to sound kind of.
How about? Isn't there like I know there's like a vinyl sound.
Ooh, let's phase it with an acoustic cascade.
All right, so now you can grab that rack.
Yeah.
See the.
Oh, we're gonna throw this one in next to
this guy. You can grab that guy, and if you scroll back up on here.
Yeah, we're grabbing the rack.
If you grab the rack, you can bring it up to the line devices. Here, scroll up over here, and then under audio effects rack, grab the and I could stick it up there. And now we have a brand new audio effects rack.
Nice.
And that's kick-ass.
So yeah, I think that's probably one of the cooler new features of Live.
Very cool.
And then you can just go and switch in real time to your clackety speed metal.
Nice.
Okay, so there.
Well, sweet. Well, that's a nice update on Ableton Live 6. The effects rack is very, very cool feature, very cool functionality. Unfortunately, if Drew Craig had been around, we could have done a little bit more detail about that, but that's a good quick glance. The full version of that comes out. Do we have an idea on that? It was slated.
Not true.
No? Okay. All right, so that's Ableton Live 6 public beta, and we took a look at that. It's pretty cool. That audio effects rack has some pretty cool functionality. We missed Drew Craig. Could have shown us a little bit of a better tour, but at least we give you a quick glance at what's coming in Ableton Live 6.
Yeah, we got some cool sounds coming out right now.
Absolutely. With our own Britton Weatherall.
And see, this is the first time Britton's messing with Live 6, and
doing a pretty good job.
Doing it all right. That's kind of what I noticed about it. The first time you just sit down, it's kind of just has a wow factor to it.
Nice. Well, all right. So next we've got the Krakli Cygnus, which has been updated. A couple weeks ago, we took a look at the Krakli Cygnus for the first time on air, demoing that. And we had some suggestions for the developer, and sure enough, the developer implemented some of those suggestions. And we've got a new version of that, and we're going to take a look at it right now. Let's check it out.
All right. Through the magic of podcasting, Mike and myself have switched places almost instantly. So basically, as far as the new version of the Cygnus goes, last time we tried it out, I mentioned that it would be cool if there was some sort of sound font oscillator.
And it would.
Yeah. And Ian got back to us after seeing the podcast and said that he was thinking about the idea. And then he did us one better and actually added 3 sound font oscillators. So we take a look at the Cygnus. This is the classic UI. I can actually show you what it looks like. So this is the original Cygnus.
Okay.
And our version is actually right here. And as you can see, he added our little logo there. Thanks, Ian. And so we have each oscillator here just like regular. We have 3 oscillators. And on each of the oscillators, we have a section here for loading sound fonts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here, and these are sound fonts I got off of the microchord. I got these myself using a program called Sample Robot. So what we have here, it's called SF Mix. And basically this mixes between each oscillator, in this case oscillator 1, and the sound font. So what I can do is just crossfade into the, it's called a wow. So you can kind of hear that.
Wow.
So that's just oscillator 1, and I can mix back to the wow. And it's going through all of these are going through all the effects of the Cygnus, so I can control the amount of chorus and reverb as well. So actually it's also a free sound font player, which I think is super cool.
Right, no doubt.
And I can tune the sound font, control the level. So now that's without the sound font, and back up. It's tuned up an octave, tuned down an octave. So that's, I'm just gonna start loading some more sound fonts. And I know I have one that I got from the Move Voyager.
Sweet.
There it is. It's just sort of a sine lead or a triangle lead. Let's bring that one down an octave. The wow up an octave.
Sweet.
So I think this is super cool. Let's check out some more patches. What happens when you change patches, that's something that I wondered how Ian would deal with it, and it actually he dealt with it exactly the same way as I would. The sound fonts stay loaded, but all of the sound font mix knobs are defaulted to 0.
Nice.
So we have just the plain sound. So if we want to hear some more of that. So this is just a preset. And of course, we can just mix in our sound fonts as much as we want. All the other settings stay the same for the sound font. Or at least the tune does, and the level seems to go down. So it's an interesting way to bring samples that you've created or downloaded on the internet in the SF2 format into like this space synth.
I'm absolutely impressed.
What do you think, Britton?
Really airy.
Yeah, that's one of the things about this. It's got the harmonic oscillator over here. Now we're just hearing the sound fonts. Turn this up a little bit. Unfortunately, the sound fonts that I had are a little quiet. So now it's just acting as a sound font player. Go back to. Yeah, this third oscillator is like an airy oscillator. Whoa, that's a lot. Let's go to another preset. So we got our beat from Ableton Live back up. Loading a different sound font. So now we got the sequencing going on. So right now we got Live 6 Beta and Krakli Cygnus sound font playing.
Nice. Is Krakli Cygnus a free synthesizer?
Yeah, and so is this new version, and
That's
we'll
great.
be hosting this version for download.
Perfect. Okay, yeah, we have one more. All right, so that's the Krakli Cygnus, and as Dan just mentioned, we're going to have that available for download at gearwire.com. So if you want to check out the Crosstalk page on that, you can get some more detail about that. Also, you can check out the Cygnus itself and download that for your own.
Nice Space Jam, by the way, Britton.
Yeah, absolutely.
You like that, guys?
Mm-hmm. Let's record it.
Oh,
It was
Put it
recorded.
out.
I want to start a thing called 8-Bit Gospel.
See, we could do that. We could do that. Can I sing?
Vocoded. Everything has to be
Absolutely.
vocoded. It's like
Okay.
vocoded choruses, like, an ensemble of like,
Sweet.
Nina Simone meets fucking Kraftwerk.
I'll play bass through a
Can you
a
bleep
synth
that
pedal.
out?
Bleep.
Nina
We'll
Simone?
8-bit out that
Yeah.
little curse you had.
Why?
Go. All right, so one last thing to take a look at. Cakewalk was in the Gearwire crib earlier this week, showing off their proverbial jewels in Cakewalk Sonar 6. Let's check out some of that video of the lovely Tom Byer.
Yeah, this is going to be a sort of a short demo on Audio Snap.
Mhm.
And we can talk about some of the other features since he was here and I saw him demo all of them. But let's just check out this one video.
All right, let's do it.
In this example, we're going to show you how you can use Audio Snap once again to do a very simple thing, and that would be to tighten up a tambourine track against, the rest of the band. And that's something you run into now and then. You lay down a track and it's not tight enough. Well, you can make it tight now very easily. So let's go ahead and listen to what we have going first. Let's bring in the tambourine. Now listen to that against the drums. It's not too bad, but you know, I mean, since you can nowadays, why not try simply quantizing this to 16th notes? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. So now it's a lot tighter. So let's go ahead and listen to the rest of the band. Mix it back. So again, to repeat the procedure, it was simple as turning on audio snap, hitting quantize, and selecting your resolution. This particular feature could also be used on other percussion instruments if you want to lock them tighter into the drums or the main click or another band member.
So that's Snap by Cakewalk Sonar.
The audio snap.
Oh, that's Audio Snap, new feature in Cakewalk Sonar 6, and that is Mr. Personality himself, Tom Byer, demoing that instrument.
Yeah, well, I think audio snap is pretty damn cool.
It is.
It comes with Sonar 6 producer edition only.
Okay.
And what's the Pro Tools analog to this? Is it drum replacer or sound replacer?
Beat Detective?
Beat Detective.
Beat Detective is better.
I'd have to say Audio Snap can do more stuff. Sit down, man. Sit down. Just sit down.
But you're a Cakewalk guy.
Well, it can do more stuff.
Okay.
Can Beat Detective create MIDI?
Yeah, it can actually.
Okay, can it? Does it? Well, okay. I'm uneducated on that. Does it?
It creates its own tempo maps too.
Okay, it creates its own tempo maps. All right, so it's basically the same thing.
But it's a cool feature that Cakewalk is having it anyway.
Yeah,
you know?
I think it's really cool.
I think it's nice.
Like, I think the really cool thing is that you can take the tempo map from any source, and then apply that to.
You could do that
another one
with Beat
Right.
Detective too.
And
I mean, it's really awesome.
It'll stretch the audio. Yeah, so basically, it's Sonar catching up to Pro Tools. I'm glad they did that.
No, absolutely.
No, it's nice.
And there's a lot of other features on there, including ACT, which is like a controller technology, where basically any controller automatically becomes. You don't need to worry about having a universal thing like something that it is pre-mapped or something you have to map yourself. Basically, you go in and it opens this one window and you click on one of the buttons there, move it, and then you're ready to go, and it automatically saves it in like a template.
Nice.
And then as soon as you change to another window, like another soft synth or something like that, it changes to that automatically.
That's nice. I think that's somewhere where Sonar's ahead of the pack.
Yeah, I would have to agree. It does seem. I mean, we weren't able to get a super good look at it, but Tom Byer definitely told us he's going to get us an NFR of it, so we'll be able to take a look at it and hopefully have like a lab video or some sort of insider review, tutorial on it or something like that.
Great. Well, thank you, Tom.
Yeah, thanks, Tom.
And also on a side note, we had a clinic that night where a lot of Chicago area Sonar users came in and got a demo from Tom. Actually, way more than 5. About 30 more than 5. And
that'd be 35.
That is 35. I've been playing this game Brain Age on the DS, and my math is great now. 35 people came in. I'd like to thank all those 35 people. You're on our newsletter now if you signed up for it, and hopefully you'll be able to come in again.
Yeah, absolutely. That was great.
Yeah.
So any other comments about Cakewalk Sonar 6 before we move on?
That's it for now.
All right, and that's actually it for the whole podcast. One other thing we actually just brainstormed on we'd like to announce to you. We're going to have a contest with the Gearwire audience. It's basically make Britton dress up as a bunny. So we're going to put a PayPal account up on the Gearwire Crosstalk homepage, and if you want to throw some money towards buying Britton a bunny outfit, he will have to wear that bunny outfit on the podcast. So we'll find an inexpensive bunny outfit, and then you can chip in $1 or $2, and we'll buy it for Britton, and Dan and I will dress as something a little bit more distinguished. But Britton will have to wear a bunny outfit if you guys chip in and make him do that.
Even with the head, even the paper mache head, like I'll have to wear that too.
There you go.
How are you going to use the mic?
Well, I won't be able.
No, it'll just.
You'd just be sitting there.
Yeah, I'll just be sitting there going.
I think it sucks.
I'll be writing stuff on a net.
We'll get the sampler back out. I think it sucks. We'll come in hot pink.
I'll play my own samples. I'll be like.
All right, thanks everybody for listening and watching the Gearwire.com Crosstalk podcast for Friday, September 29th. Again, I'm your host, Mike Payne, and this is Britton Weatherald. This is Dan Augusto, and all three of us say thank you for watching. Join us again next week. You all rock. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.